The presidential contest is a nail-biter, but voters casting ballots today were likely to leave the U.S. House firmly in the grasp of Republicans who rode a wave of anti-incumbent anger to historic gains 2 years ago. House Republicans headed into Election Day with 242 seats under their control, while Democrats held 193. Democrats could make inroads in a handful of congressional districts, but election forecasters say they probably will fall well short of winning the additional 25 seats needed to seize the majority. 25 was always a daunting number, said Jessica Taylor, an analyst with the independent Rothenberg Political Report. To get there, everything had to go right for Democrats. One big roadblock to any sweeping partisan change, the redrawing of congressional districts after the last census. The 2010 GOP takeover of legislatures in 26 states helped Republicans protect their incumbents in swing districts, while vulnerable Democrats in places such as North Carolina were drawn into more competitive districts. In addition, the hard-fought presidential race has overshadowed this year's congressional contests, and neither President Obama nor Republican nominee Mitt Romney has had the last-minute surge that could help lift others in their party to victory. "This is not a big-wave election," said G. Terry McDonough, a political scientist at Franklin and Marshall College in Lancaster, PA. "We will have a Congress that is very similar ideologically to the one we have now," he said. "We will have a House that tilts to the right, the Senate that is likely to be controlled by Democrats who tilt to the left, and it will be very difficult to reach compromise. A persistent partisan divide will make it difficult to pass major legislation in the next Congress, no matter who occupies the White House," political observers say. Even if the partisan contours remain largely the same, Tuesday's election will bring changes to the U.S. House, as a combination of retirements and redistricting guarantees that dozens of new members will enter Congress in January. Today's election, for instance, could mark the return of a Kennedy to Congress. Joe Kennedy, 32, son of a former congressman and the grandson of Senator Robert Kennedy, easily won the Democratic primary in a new district, which takes in parts of the Boston suburbs. He faces Republican Sean Blatt in their battle to replace Liberal icon Representative Barney Frank, who is retiring. Overall, nearly 70 competitive seats are in play, as several of the 87 House GOP freshmen elected in 2010 face tough challenges. Moderate Democrats in the South struggle to retain their seats and incumbents battle incumbents in newly drawn districts around the country. Among developments to watch: dwindling blue dogs. GOP-led redistricting in several states put blue dog Democrats in less friendly territory, and Tuesday's results were likely to make the already shrinking coalition of moderate Democrats in the House even smaller. In Georgia, Democratic Representative John Arrow has remained competitive in a tough battle against the Republican nominee, State Representative Lee Anderson, for the Augusta area district. Anderson, a third-generation family farmer, has trailed Arrow in fundraising and shunned debating the incumbent. The district, redrawn to favor Republicans, is about a third African American. Last month, Arrow sought to appeal to both constituencies in an attention-getting commercial touting his support for gun rights and his endorsement by the National Rifle Association. In it, he displaced his father's rifle and a Smith & Wesson handgun he said his grandfather once used to stop the lynching. "They are my guns now, and ain't nobody going to take them away," Arrow says in the 80. He's not running as a Democrat. He's running as John Arrow, good ol' boy, said Merle Black, a political scientist at Emory University in Atlanta. He has made the best of a very bad situation. In North Carolina, another blue dog, Democratic Representative Larry Kissel, trailed Republican Richard Hudson. Hudson worked as a congressional aide to several Republican lawmakers and runs a marketing firm. Another North Carolina blue dog, Representative Mike McIntyre, was locked in a close race with State Senator David Brouwer, a Republican. Any blue dog losses tonight will underscore a demographic shift underway in the Democratic Party toward women and minorities. The nonpartisan Cook Political Report predicts white males will make up 46% to 48% of the House Democratic caucus next year, down from 53% today. In another highly competitive race, Representative Ben Chandler, the five-term blue dog Democrat from Kentucky, faces Lexington attorney Andy Barr, the Republican, in a rematch of their 2010 contest. Chandler won that election by 648 votes. The reconfigured district includes new Democratic areas, but the race has tightened considerably in recent weeks as Bard has sought to tie Chandler to Obama administration policies he says have hurt the state's coal industry. Freshmen in competitive races. One of the most expensive House contests features one of Congress' best-known freshmen. Florida Republican Representative Allen West, elected in the Tea Party-fueled wave of 2010, quickly made his mark as a successful fundraiser and conservative firebrand. The retired Army lieutenant colonel, for example, once estimated that as many as 80 members of Congress were communists. Headed into Election Day, he was locked into a too-close-to-call race with Democrat Patrick Murphy, a political newcomer whose family owns a construction business. West has spent more than $13 million to defend his seat to Murphy's $3.4 million, Federal Election Commission records show. Political parties and outside groups pumped in nearly $7 million, according to the nonpartisan Sunlight Foundation, which tracks political spending. New York Representative Anne Marie Buerkle also swept into office in the 2010 Republican tide, tossing out Democratic Representative Ken Maffei by fewer than 700 votes. Maffei is back for a rematch. NCQ roll call and the Rothenberg Political Report viewed Buerkle as one of nation's most vulnerable Republican incumbents in a Syracuse district that is likely to side with Obama. Lawmaker versus lawmaker. Outside groups have splurged on other competitive races, including the hotly contested battle between Ohio Reps. Betty Sutton, a Democrat, and Republican Jim Renacci, thrown into the same suburban Cleveland district by post-2010 census redistricting. Nearly $10 million has flowed into the contest to fuel non-stop television ads that attack Sutton for supporting Obama's healthcare law and Renacci as an uncaring millionaire. The other incumbent versus incumbent contest that puts a Democrat against a Republican is the Iowa showdown between GOP Representative Tom Latham and Democratic Representative Leonard Boswell, who have served 9 and 8 terms in the House, respectively. Much of the election has focused on their extensive records, including Boswell's support for key Democratic initiatives, such as Obama's healthcare law, which Latham opposed. Nowhere has the lawmaker against lawmaker conflict been more intense than the race between Democratic reps Brad Sherman and Howard Berman, fighting for the same San Fernando Valley seat. A debate last month turned into a nose-to-nose confrontation, forcing a police officer to separate the two men. Berman, the top Democrat on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, has had the support of California's Democratic leadership against Sherman, known for his relentless retail politics. Veterans in tough battles. In a closely watched Massachusetts race, Richard Tizzi, an openly gay Republican, has gained on 8-term Democratic Representative John Tierney. Tierney has been politically damaged by the legal troubles of his wife and her family, related to an offshore gambling operation. In Minnesota, Representative Michelle Bachmann, a Tea Party favorite who gained fame with her short-lived bid for this year's Republican presidential nomination, faces a close re-election battle against Democrat Jim Graves, a wealthy hotelier who has put some of his own money into the campaign. In neighboring Iowa, another conservative Republican, Representative Steve King, faced off against another politician with a well-known name, Democrat Kristi Vilsack, the state's former First Lady and the wife of U.S. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack. The political parties and outside groups have dumped millions into the race, making it one of the most competitive fights King has faced in his 5 terms in the House. Rise of minority candidates. In Utah, Missing in Action Love vied to make history. If elected, the small city mayor would become the first black, female Republican in Congress. To do so, Love would have to defeat veteran Representative Jim Matheson, the only Democrat in the state's delegation and the son of a former Utah governor. Republicans have gone to bat for Love, the daughter of Haitian immigrants, giving her a prominent speaking role at the party's national convention in Tampa and helping her raise campaign money. Love could be aided by Mitt Romney at the top of the ticket, which is likely to drive turnout in Utah, where many voters share his Mormon faith. In California, 2 Latino Democrats are in competitive races against GOP incumbents. Jose Hernandez, the former astronaut, is challenging freshman Representative Jeff Denham, while physician Raul Ruiz, a farm worker's son who went on to earn 3 Harvard degrees, is taking on veteran Representative Mary Bo Nomak,